Hey gang, welcome to part 2 of the secrets to playing the right notes. As we said last time, this system that we're learning is based on 3 things. One is that essentially the right notes are, some right notes that you can always rely upon are the tones of the chord that you're playing over. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is we're going to use, or number 2 is that we're going to use the CAGED system. Now we're going to get into it today in this lesson, and you'll find that this is a twist. I have a twist on this that you won't find in the book, so it's going to be a little bit different, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned for it. The third thing is the Joe Pass principle, that there are only 3 types of chords: majors, minors, and sevenths, and everything else is kind of window dressing. So in today's lesson, we're going to get right into it. We're going to cover the CAGED chords using all movable forms that you can use anywhere without crunching up your neck, or your fingers, I mean, or your neck, I suppose. All right, the second thing is we are actually going to do chord tone soloing with a backing track. And then we're going to spice it up by showing you what extensions you can do to those chords, or what you can do around those chords to make even just playing the notes of the chords interesting. Okay, at the very end, we'll round it up by telling you what's coming next week. And that's about it. Okay, we will see you in, I don't know, 3, 2, 1. Here you go. Okay, let's get right down to it. We're going to do the CAGED chords first. Oh, I should say, you can download the materials for this lesson, the charts and so forth, down in the description below. All right, so let's do the CAGED chords first, and then we'll do the chord tone soloing. So first, these are the major CAGED chords. We're going to do them again for minor and sevenths. Now, if you're like me, you learn chords, CAGED chords or not, by chords like this, by thinking about the chords, by locating them with the root notes on the 6th string or on the 5th string. However, what we're going to do is going to focus on, guess where we solo? On the top strings. We don't solo primarily on strings 5 and 6, we solo primarily on the top strings. So our chords are going to focus on forms that are on strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so let's start this out. We'll do it in C first, and then we'll do it in one other key. All right, so keep in mind that even though I'm talking about the C form, the A form, those are forms, not chords. When we're doing it in C, every chord I'm going to play is a C. Okay? When we do it in E, every chord I'll play is an E. They just have different shapes. Okay, here we go. So let's do them in C. So the first one is this. Happens to be the C form. Makes sense because it's an open. All right? So it's on strings 4, 3, and 2. We're going to play on the 4th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string open, 1st string, 1st fret. That's the C form. Now the A form, right? C, A. That one's pretty straightforward. 4, 3, 2 strings, 5, 5, 5. Okay, ready for the G? This is a toughie. Hey, isn't that the same chord? Yes and no. I'm playing it with a different finger, okay? I'm playing it with my 1st finger instead of my 3rd. Why does that matter? Well, at the moment it doesn't, but it will soon when we learn forms of scales to play over these that fit the chord tones well. For this one, we're going to play this. And for this one, we're going to play. All right, so that's going to work really well for us. All right, so if you want, to help you remember, you can also play on the 1st string 3 frets up, in this case on the 8th fret, and there you have it. There's your G form. So we've got C, we've got A, we've got G. Next after G comes E, right? It's this one right here. So we're playing on 4, 3, 2 again, 10, 9, 8. You'll recognize this as part of the big bar C, but the root note is on the 4th string, 10th fret. If you want to play the root on the 1st string, that's fine too, which is the 8th fret. All right, so that's the E form. C, A, G, E, last comes D. It's this right here. Only playing strings 3, 2, and 1 now. We're playing 12, 13, and 12. Here it is right there. Okay, let's go through the whole thing. Here's the C form, the A form, the G form, the E form, and the D form. That's it. Okay, let's practice this in another key. Let's try it in the key of E. So in the key of E, we would have open, it would be our E form. Same as this C form up here, right? But we don't have a fret to play this. So we're playing it just like that. Okay? After E comes D. It's this one right here. 3, 2, 1 strings, 4, 5, and 4. Now the C form. 6, 4, 5. On the 4, 3, 2. 6, 4, 5. Okay, after C comes A. Right here up at 9, 9, 9. On the 4, 3, 2 strings. G form, simple. Just use our first finger to play the same thing. You want to add the top note, that's okay too. And we are back to E, which just for the record will be 14, 13, 12. All right, there we go. That's for the E. All right, now I advise you to practice those forms in all keys. Know it for B flat, know it for E flat, know it for F sharp, know it for G, know it for A, okay, know it for D. Get them into your brain, because the more you can recognize there's a D chord, there's another one, and you can do that pretty quickly, the more you're going to be able to solo based on the chords. Okay? So, get that down. We're going to move on to chord tone soloing right now just to show you how it works, and we're going to go through it using a backing track, and then we'll do it to spice it up. So the first thing we'll do is a backing track. Now this backing track has 3 chords to it. It essentially has an A major, it has a D major, actually it's a major 6th, but who cares, it's a major flavor, okay, and it has a E 7th, but for our purposes we're going to call it an E major. Later we'll do 7th chords. Right now happens to be a 7th, but we're just going to treat it like a major. It'll work out fine, okay? So let's try playing using our caged chords. Let's try it just in our 5th position, and let's find our A. The closest A is this one, the E form. Okay, on the 4, 3, 2 strings, we've got 7, 6, 5. The D, which would be right here, our A form, which is on the 7th, on the 4, 3, 2 strings, the 7, 7, 7 frets. And the E, we're spoiled for choice. We've got this E up here at 9, 9, 9, but we've also got this one right here, which is pretty close, right? That's 6 on the 4, 3, 2 strings. It's 6, 4, 5, and we've got this one right here, the D form. So we're spoiled for choice with E. We've got a lot of E's that we can use. All right, right in the vicinity. Let's focus on just using this one, which is the C form, okay? So we've got this form, we've got this form, and we've got this form. Okay, so the first time through, all I'm going to do is and this is not going to be easy because it's hard to just play these notes, but all I'm going to do is play the chord tones and show you how well those work. All right, first time through, let's just play those chord notes themselves from the 3 chords that we outlined, okay? Here we go. All right, so it may not be the most interesting solo there is, but as you can see, just playing those chord tones, they're all sounding pretty good over those chords. The next thing we want to do is to make it a little more interesting, make the play a little bit more interesting by doing a couple of different things. So here are just a few ideas to, again, approach this not using any scales at all, just using those chords. One of the things that you can do is you can find the different chords that are available to you For example, for the A, here's one right here, but we also have an A up here. Again, the more you practice this, the more easily you'll find it. We also have another A up here and one up here. So all those A tones are available to us. We also have, if we look at the D, we have this D, and we have this D, and we have this D. So those are all D chords that we can use, all notes that we can use over the D chord. And we have this E, as we've outlined, but we also have this E, this E. So we can use all of those, and this E even, up here. So we can use all of those to kind of traverse the neck a little bit, and that's going to help us. Like, for example, we can play... And all those notes fit over an A chord easily, and you see we're moving around the neck. It makes it more interesting. All right, another thing that we can do is we can use approach notes. So for example, instead of just playing this, we can play... As long as we outline that chord and know what we're trying to outline, it's going to sound pretty good. And we don't have to just use a single approach note. We could use two. Or we could use, we could go above it and then below. That's going to sound pretty good. So that's one thing that we can do. And one more idea that I want to give to you, and you know, we don't have to do just chromatics. We could do above in the scale. It doesn't really matter. Play around with it, and you'll find that as long as you're landing at the end on those notes, it's going to sound good. One more idea that I want to give to you, and this is one of my favorites, and that is to connect the chords with chromatics. So for example, if I'm playing an A and I want to move to the D, I might play something like this. Right? So I'm playing that E, or that A, I'm sorry, and I'm moving to a D. I might simply play this note, which is in the A chord, and then move to the D chromatically. See how I moved from that to this chord? All right, let's try this out in practice and see how it goes. Here are some ideas. All right? Okay, so that's just one example of how you could do it. I know it sounds kind of old-timey, like a Charlie Christian sort of thing, but keep in mind, I'm not using any scale play at all. I'm just using those chord forms, and you can do that too. Learning the chord forms is the important thing there. Once you get that down, play that around. That's good. You can do it without scales. All right, well, hopefully this has given you some good ideas. Now here's a roundup for what's coming next, where we do get into some scale plays around those, but based around those chords. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, what we want to cover is, for those same caged chords, we'll cover what are called the major pentatonic modes. Now you've probably heard of modes before, and this is going to be a little bit different. We're playing the modes of the pentatonic scale over each of these caged chords. And that works out perfectly because C-A-G-E-D, that's 5. Penta means 5. 5 notes in the scale, 5 modes. It's going to work out great. Okay, so we'll see you next time. And until then, we'll see you on down the road. All right, bye.